An anti-corruption forum has taken place in Astana, where the President of the Republic announced 7 missions in the fight against corruption and suggested the launch of a national plan for its elimination. The meeting also involved the Nur-Otan heads, members of Republican and regional councils on the fight against corruption, members of parliament and representatives of national and international organisations. The fight against corruption was declared one of the priorities of the domestic policy of the state on Independence Day. However, it is too early to say whether the system is operating at full effectiveness. The President announced the corruption figures, and almost 1,500 cases of bribery have been reported since the beginning of the year. This situation causes damage to the government to the tune of billions of US dollars. We are not satisfied with a situation where corruption poses a threat to the development of our state, its economic growth and political stability. We are to conduct a most effective battle against it. The head of state also announced that the country is in need of a national plan and presented the project to the attendees. The document includes 7 priority missions involving the improvement of anti-corruption legislation, further optimisation of the state administrative function, an increase in the quality of state work. This means that in the nearest future, pockets of corruption will need to be eliminated and supported in regulatory legal acts. Laws will have to be adopted on government relations, and the government should continue its administrative reforms and direct state services to a specific area. The creation of a new generation of civil servants will be a strategic mission. A civil servant should follow certain ethical norms, as the ability to use his power and authority and be honest. Being a civil servant, he should serve to the good of the state and not to his own. He must not be afraid of questions about his living standards. It is important to improve the system of identification and counteraction against corruption, Nur-Sultan Nazarbayev noted. A phased transmission of the continued reformation of the law enforcement agencies should be developed, as it is necessary to suppress corruption in social and economic areas, and the most important thing is to create conditions of intolerance to such phenomena, or all measures will be in vain. Today, using all these resources, the Nur-Otan party should lead the national fight against corruption, since it is the national party which should protect the interests of Kazakhstan's residents. I believe that by taking real measures we will be able to maintain our strategic plans. Members of the forum supported the idea of the President on the adoption of the national plan. 2 new medical institutions, a blood centre and a sterilisation centre stocked with up-to-date equipment have opened in Shymkent. President Nur-Sultan Nazarbayev paid visits to both of them. Since the tragedy when dozens of children were infected with HIV because of doctors' negligence, the South Kazakhstan regional healthcare system has been undergoing some serious changes. The President asked local government to build a new blood centre in the city of Shymkent with over 1.5 billion tenge allocated to the project's implementation. The centre is stocked with French and American equipment which provides automatic blood donation and transfusion processes. Each donor will also have a special electronic ID, thanks to which doctors can trace all the records. The new system is to protect the doctors from any deceit, which is what happened in the region before. The new medical institution's staff has already taken a training course abroad. In compliance with World Health Organization standards, there should be 40 blood donations per 1,000 people. At the moment, we have a figure of less than 7 donations per 100 people, which is why this new centre is planned to provide all the necessary blood for the region. The South Kazakhstan regional healthcare expenses have been increased significantly. This year alone, over 42.5 billion tenge has been directed to the sphere of medicine, which totals roughly 1/3 of the region's budget. As part of the presidential 100 schools and 100 hospitals programme, the region is set to have 8 new healthcare institutions. Aside from that, a new maternity hospital, cardio-surgery centre and new regional and some district children's outpatient clinics are now being built in the south of the region. Moreover, the major share of the region's existing medical institutions are currently being restored. Shymkent doctors are now proud of the Republic's first specialised centre for medical instrument sterilisation, costing over 1 billion tenge. The major share of the money was spent on the purchase of modern Italian equipment. However, it is not enough, for all the medicine-related problems are solved in the region. On Friday, the situation in the region will top a Republican meeting devoted to the issues of healthcare and headed by the head of state in the city of Shymkent. A regular scheduled stage of decommissioning a BH-350 nuclear reactor has been started. A special plant designed to process liquid sodium has installed in the territory of the Mangishlak nuclear power plant. Now specialists have to turn more than 600 tons of toxic substance into alkali. Scientists from the United States and Great Britain took part in the opening of the plant and have been working together with Kazakh scientists on this particular project for several years so far. I believe this project to be of great importance as it's implemented as part of the agreement between the governments of Kazakhstan and the USA. We've allocated $3 million on the construction of a liquid sodium processing plant. The first BH350 fast neutron reactor was built in Aktau and was used for producing electrical power and desalinated water for more than 20 years. Its use was discontinued in 1999 on the expiration of its operational life. Measures for bringing it into a safe condition were taken afterwards, which included unloading the nuclear fuel from the reactor and putting it into a special pool filled with water. Caesium has been extracted from the liquid sodium, which served as a heat-carrying agent and which will be processed later by the new plant. The plant control is fully computerized, so the process of turning liquid sodium into alkali will be uninterrupted. The unique thing about this project is that the reactor it deals with is only one of its kind in the world, which furthermore is intended for a huge workload. We have to process about 600 cubic meters of sodium. Such results have never been achieved in the world so far. In the future, the plant for turning alkali into cement components is planned to be constructed. It is intended to be placed in a storage area for 50 years. According to scientists, its radioactivity will have decayed to zero by that time. In Taraz, the Minister for Labour and Social Security, the head of the Jambil region, and employees have signed a memorandum which guarantees the welfare protection of employees of large enterprises in case of a reduction in output. 4 companies which were involved in the signing of the memorandum entered into commitments, and a month before the forecast reduction of output, they must warn the local authorities and their trade unions about the possibilities of redundancies. The situation will be analysed by a tripartite commission which will involve the head of the region, representatives of the Regional Ministry for Labour and trade unions. However, the main aim of the employees is to retain working positions. The Labour Code states that in case of redundancy, the employer should send its employee to another job and preserve 2/3 of his salary. If the employer does not have the possibility to do that, he should send the employee on a 2-week vacation on 50% of his salary. Since the Taraz mineral fertilizer plant exports its production to Europe, it could face a financial crisis. We're now negotiating with local producers of agricultural goods to supply goods within the country. The first supplies were to the Kostanay region. The minister believes that another way out is investment projects, including the launch of a new department that could be formed by the axed employees. An evening devoted to the memory of the outstanding Kazakh poet, translator, journalist and Kazakhstan State Prize winner Gafur Kayibekov, who would have been 80 years old, has taken place in Astana. Gafur Kayibekov was born in the land which gave birth to such talented people as Ahmet Baytusinov, Mirjakip Dulatov and Ibrai Altinsarin. Such volumes of poems as Piers, Ivan Fisherman, Aral Motives and Conversation with the Sun are still popular among Kazakh people. The Kazakh poet Gafur Aga Kayibekov was a talented person, the kind that is born only once a century. If there was no such people as Gafur Kayibekov, our generation of poets would not be able to survive. The 9th Eurasian Teleforum, which involved representatives of printed and electronic media, specialists in the area of media technology, cultural and scientific figures and representatives of business circles, has been opened in Moscow. This year, the programme of the Teleforum includes competitions, thematic exhibitions, films, programmes and internet projects. In particular, Kazakhstan presented a stand of the recently created Arna Media Holding and several documentaries and dramas. It is planned to hold masterclasses, roundtables, conferences and Electronic Media 2008 Values of the 21st Century International Congress as part of the forum. At the opening of the Teleforum, delegates were read a greeting from the President Nursultan Nazarbayev, who said that the Eurasian Teleforum helps expand international cooperation in the area of media and promotes the strengthening of cultural and humanitarian areas.